There we go. Starting to get people coming in now here. It's always that moment of truth when you go live and you see there's nobody watching and you feel really uh, insecure. Hello, Robert. Hello, Maria. Hello, VNA. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Hill Harmonic. How's Colorado today? Hi, Laura. Hi, Bite. Yeah, he knows now that when he hears me start talking to the computer that it's time to come up and get kitty treats, doesn't he? Don't you? That's how it is, isn't it? Kitty treat time. Used to be only when we watch TV at night, but now it's when I do live streams too, right? You know how he is. Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Yeah. Bite's training of me is coming along nicely. He's got me very well trained. Yeah, you like the image of the cats and the chef's hats. Yeah, isn't Photoshop amazing? I'm doing good, VNA. How are you? Oh, 62 degrees in Colorado Springs. That's a nice day. Yeah, I think that's about what it is here too. Yeah, it's kind of a challenge to get the cats to sit still long enough so you can take a picture of them for that. But it's great you can find somebody like images like on on the internet and then just cut paste them on. I hope it's not too much of a spoiler alert that I didn't actually put chef's hats on the cat. Yeah, I thought I needed to start branding some of this stuff a little bit. So, you know, since it's named after Bite and Nibble here, made sense that they should be in the image. Maybe Bite and Nibble can help you cook. Yeah, what'll end up happening is I'll have cat hair in all the food. That won't work. How are my mom and dad doing? They're doing good. They're doing good. I'm actually going home in a few days to spend Thanksgiving with them. I'm going home on Friday night, so that'll be fun. It'll be good to go visit there and just be visiting and not have to deal with like hospital visits and dealing with taking care of my mom because my dad's away. It's just going to be some it's just going to be some hanging out time. So hopefully I can get together with Jordan and some other friends and just kind of do some of the things I want to do. Yeah, I've been hearing you have fires in Brisbane. That's scary. We have them here too, so I know what they're like. Well, not here so much, but we had them in California. They're always going on in California around this time of the year. Usually from basically late August through November, December when they have the Santa Ana winds. That's kind of when that all happens. Am I doing the cooking for Thanksgiving? Probably not. My mom, I don't know. I may end up doing the lasagna just because I may just do a cooking vlog there. And my mom kind of enticed me to come home with promises of lasagna, and maybe I'll just do it there. I don't know. We'll see. I'm definitely thinking I'm going to make some of that chili or that cheesy chip dip that I made a few weeks back. That was really good. I'm still eating that, and I love that. That's probably one of my favorite things I've done. Yeah, I don't know if my mom wants to be on camera or not. So I don't know. We'll play it by ear. It was a lot easier to get my dad to call in last week than I thought it would be, and so, but my mom has been given the chance to do it in the past, and she's not really interested in that. So yeah, you ought to try the dip, Jennifer. It was really good. Like I said, I'm still eating that. I'm going out and buying tortilla chips so that I can munch on that while I'm watching TV. It's great. But I think I'm gonna make. I like that so much. I think I'm gonna make that for. I think I'm gonna make that for Thanksgiving. Hey, look, Jordan's here. Hey, Jordan, how you doing, buddy? Is it the new Max Headroom show? Yeah, pretty much. Talking head here. It was funny after I showed all my videos a couple of weeks ago. I actually sat down and plowed through the whole Max Headroom series. I still love that show. That show. It was a really great show. It was really groundbreaking and ahead of its time. Too bad it only lasted one season. After all those weird dreams I was having a few weeks ago, everyone keeps suggesting that I should burn sage. So I'm actually burning sage incense right now. So if you see smoke wafting across the room, the apartment isn't on fire. It's just the sage I'm burning. I don't know. I don't really get into a lot of that metaphysical stuff, but I do like to burn incense. So you know what? That's a good one. Haven't had sage in a while. I usually do other things. I like jasmine, and I like there's something called dragon's blood that I'm a huge fan of. Yeah, it's a shame that Max Headroom didn't last longer. Yeah, well, that's the point, DNA. I like any incense that smells good. Even if I don't necessarily think I'm dealing with ghosts and trying to chase them off with incense, it still smells good and it adds to the aroma around here. So yeah, the buffalo dip that was really good. I really like that. Dakota sage. Okay, I'll have to look that up. This is just something I found over at Spencer Gifts. Well, we had that polar blast that blew through here a few days ago, and it got below zero a few nights. In fact, there was a bucket of water out in the backyard that had kind of come off the roof when it rained last time. I noticed the morning after that it was frozen over. It just had a little thin layer of ice on it, but it was enough that it froze. I had to bring in my plumeria those nights too. They don't do very well in the freezing. They can deal with above freezing, but the second it gets below freezing, it becomes a problem. Yeah, it was kind of surprising how cold it got. It's still pretty cool at night. It's in the upper 30s at night, and we're not getting much above mid or upper 60s during the day. Yeah, I've never tried using a wax melter. Sorry, we were talking about max headroom there for a second. Yeah, I'll have to see if there's like uh, a shop that'll sell like you know native items like sage. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, my dad's doing really well. I mean, he was here on the vlog last week. You recall that he called in and took a whole bunch of your questions, uh, and he really enjoyed doing that. And seemed you guys really liked having him here too. So we both had fun. My van explosion looked like something out of Breaking Bad. Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't. It didn't affect me in any way except create a little vlog material. Yeah, I've never really gotten into Breaking Bad. I tried. I watched a couple episodes. I just couldn't get into it. Was I at home when it happened? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was. I actually heard the sirens, and I didn't really think anything of it because they were only there for a second, and and then then they were off, and I didn't make a connection. And then a little bit later, I was like looking out the window out here, and it was all smoky out there, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I made the connection then between the sirens and the smoke. I figured I was going to open the door and um, smell a bunch of smoke. And rather than being like wood smoke, it was like burning plastic, burning rubber smoke. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I ran into one of my neighbors, and I said, oh yeah, there's a van out there that like caught on fire and exploded or something. I didn't hear an explosion. It might have just been one of those things where it ignited and it ignited fast. I don't think it was like a kind of explosion. But am I going to vlog the white elephant party? Very possible. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I guess it'll depend on what everybody else there wants to do. Yeah, they said the party starts about 3, Jordan. So we'll talk about that offline if you still want to go. Yes, I've gotten my tickets for the trip back. I'm going back on uh, Friday, and this coming Friday, and then I'm flying back on Black Friday the week after. Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to figure out how we're gonna do that too, because I've always brought my block rocker along with me, and I'm not gonna bring that on the airplane. They're already dinging me for carry-on stuff, and I'm not gonna bring a 30-pound speaker just for that. So they're gonna have to come up with some way to play the music too. I have thick as a brick on the cell phone, so that's not a problem. But yeah, I don't know. I probably should call Bill ahead of time and uh, let them know they're going to have to figure out how to do that. Yeah, just what I need to do is spend another $40 each way bringing the block rocker. It would almost make more sense just to go buy a new one there. For those of you who don't understand what we're talking about, uh, every year a group of friends of mine get together and we have a white elephant Christmas party. And basically, we all just bring, the strangest things that we can find, basically things that we don't want anymore. Sometimes, people bring in really cool things too. And then we just, we roll dice. And if you get pairs on the dice, you get to go pick one gift out of the pile. And then when all the gifts are gone out of the pile, then we start stealing gifts from other people. And so that makes it really interesting. And we play music in the background, and that's kind of the time where the party goes on until the music is up. And usually what we play is Thick as a Brick by Jethro Tull, but they've been known to play Selling England by the Pound, by Genesis, and other things as well. So, it just depends on what they're in the mood for. But usually it's Thick as a Brick by Jethro Tull, because it's a nice long 43-minute song, and it's basically enough time to go do all the gift exchange and that. Have a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a tradition that's been going on for, I don't know, before I was doing it even, because my friends before they knew me used to do it every year, and this was like when they were in their 20s, and we're all in our 50s, and we're all in our 50s now. So what t-shirt am I rocking today? This is my t-shirt from Baker, California. When Jordan and I went to visit Baker, California. I think that was when we went to Vegas at one time. I got this one at that weird little alien show. You'll have to go check that out on Jordan's vlog. Yeah, probably no one's ever done a white elephant party like that. That's just something that we do. It's just been a tradition for this group for forever. Dan found bear claws down in Killeen. That's good. Yeah, I found a few here too, like I showed you in the videos. Actually, I haven't had any since then, but it's good to know where I can get them, and that's kind of the key thing. I kind of go different things for breakfast. Eggs and have some sausage muffin kind of things, and Cheerios. I'm eating a lot of like Honey Nut Cheerios right now for breakfast. And then, of course, on Saturdays, I do restaurant vlogs. So I have lunch for breakfast. Today, I hit a burger place. I had a burger for breakfast. Part of this delicious high protein breakfast, right? Yeah, I guess it wouldn't surprise me that they might have bear claws at Panera. I don't know if they have a Panera here in Texas. I know my mom's a huge Panera bread fan. And so, whenever we go, that whenever I'm there, a couple times during the week, we'll have Panera bread. I was wondering if somebody would ask about that. Yeah, that was a friend of mine made that for me years and years ago. She knew I was into astronomy, so she was making bears for everyone. So it's like planets and stars and stuff like that. And I found that in one of the boxes that I had, so I decided to. He's going to get to sit there for a while. Nice little conversation starter. Yeah, I was a friend when I worked over at DMI, Disc Manufacturing Inc., the first CD factory I worked for. She was kind of my workmate in the department I was in when I was in product engineering. And I guess one year for Christmas, she made bears for like everyone in the department, and that was the one she made for me. This one's kind of cool too because I don't know if he still does it, but she bought fabric that actually glows in the dark. So when you light them up, then what'll end up happening, you turn on the light and he glows. Thanks, Jordan. I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll definitely. I mean, he hasn't had anything to eat in probably 30 years, so he's probably hungry by now. Yeah, no, not Mike's toy. He just sat on top of my bed, on top of like my headboard on my bed back in California, and like you said, he was in one of the boxes, and I decided, you know what, I'll pull him out. Oh, that's cool. You have a stuffed bear that belonged to a friend of yours, and you get him wearing your Days with Jordan the Lion glasses. That's cool. Thank you. Yeah, that was a. I'm glad you liked the Waco horror video. I was really concerned about doing it because it is such a disturbing subject. Um, but you know, I talked to Jordan about it a lot actually, and he really encouraged me to go forward with it. And you know, uh, the thing I looked at is there just wasn't a lot of information out there on the subject. I really had to do a lot of digging to discover a lot of this stuff. And one of the things I wanted to do is try and do the best video out there on the subject. And I haven't seen anybody that did anything like that. I hope you like the one I do tonight too. That's another interesting little piece of history that I discovered. Actually, I discovered a couple months ago when I was in the graveyard looking for the guy who invented Dr. Pepper. There was another tombstone that I was looking for, and I couldn't find it. Turned out I was looking in the wrong place. I got the plot number and the block number mixed up, and so I was supposed to be in block 9, plot 19. I was in block 19, plot 9, and I couldn't find it. So once I got to the right place, and it was like, oh yeah, there it is. And so I kind of knew about that. And then when I was out doing some work on the Waco horror video, I found another one of those historical markers that said, oh yeah, this is where that happens. Like, and I said, okay, I got to turn that into another vlog. So yeah, go for it, Jordan. It's all cool. Jordan's going to maybe come to the. Well, he's talking about coming to the Christmas party, and he wants to do a caricature of me for a Christmas card. So yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'm all over that. I hope I get it. You'll have to tell me which one it is so I can try and get it. Sometimes when I bring things to the party, it's something that I gear that I say, a particular person needs this item. And so I'll usually tell them, hey, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but that package right there, yeah, you need to go for that because I'm thinking of you when I got that. I'm great, Ruth. Thank you. You're going to do a Christmas postcard. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I have heard of the James Bird story. That was horrible too. Yeah, that was the black man that they like tied a chain around his neck and dragged him around behind a car until he died. Yeah, that was horrible. Okay, so there is a Panera, or there was a Panera. Waco and 8th Street, West Loop 340. I'll look it up. You know. Oh yeah, yeah. Bite pops in and out. I see him on the camera. I don't really, he wants kitty treats, don't you? That's what it's all about, isn't it? But you're not going to come fully on camera and let everyone see you, huh? Is that it? You expected me just to bring it to you, right? That's how it's going to be. Typical celebrity. And when I tease him like that, that's probably the reason I get bit. Lunge at it because he knows I might pull it away from him. Bear want any? No, I guess not. He wants bear food. Maybe I'll get him some bear claws. You're right, VNA. He's staring down the bear. Okay, thanks for stopping in, Kevin. I'll be on for a while longer, so if you get a chance to pop back in, go for it. Okay, I'll try and remember that, Laura. But if I call you Dan, you'll have to forgive me. Mhm. My bear reminds me of Mr. Bean's bear. Okay, that's cool. I never really was that much into him. He did a movie a long time ago, and I saw that, and it's like, yeah, I didn't get anything into it, get anything out of it. I won't call you late to dinner. Thanks, Laura. Appreciate that. I'm pronouncing it right. I'm pronouncing it correctly, right? Yeah, that's probably true, Jordan. A lot of times they put stuff in. They take something that works really well in like a TV series or something like that, and they ruin it by moving it to film. Sometimes a lot of these things, they work better in a shorter format. When you do a movie, then you have to get too detailed and too much of a plot. It's possible. Would it be cannibalism if I fed bear claws to a bear? I don't know. I remember on some of my South Park discs in the early days, they did little bonus footage between the episodes that are on the DVDs where they were feeding bacon to a pig. So was kind of that was kind of weird too. Okay, so good to know it's morning in Brisbane. Yeah, I've heard that. I don't know who it was, but I've heard that you can call me what you want, but don't call me late to dinner. Yeah, I don't know where that came from too either, but I've heard that line before. Wouldn't surprise me if it was Groucho Marx. It sounds like something you'd say. Yeah, yeah. So far, I'm really enjoying Texas. So, yeah, and you're right. Killeen isn't that far away. Have I seen Knight Rider with David Hasselhoff? Yeah, I used to watch that all the time. That was one of my favorite shows every week. I've actually, Jordan and I have actually seen the Cards, both the later version and the original. They had the later version that had like the super turbo speed where the wings came out of the side and all that. And they were both at a car museum that Jordan and I visited a while back. That was the one down in Vegas, I think, in or around Vegas. I think we did it on that trip. Yeah, yeah, that is kind of ironic. A police using a lot of bacon, police officer using a lot of bacon. It's good if they can laugh at that. Yeah, yeah. It took me about 2 days to plow through the whole lease. I actually learned things about the lease that I don't think anyone else knew. I found a couple of mistakes on the lease that I called the attention to the landlord. Yeah, there was one point where they said, if it was something involving the animals, yeah, having animals, and said that that the price would, for something going wrong would be between this value and this value. And then very later in the very same sentence, it said, and the price will be this value. And it was outside of the range they gave. I also found out that there were supposed to be smoke detectors in this place and they didn't install them. Because I went there, when I was still kind of reading through it, and I asked, hey, in this little section of the lease, it says, if the state requires you to have smoke detectors, you have to install them. What is the rules here? And she says, oh, you don't have smoke detectors in your place? And I said, well, I do now. I installed them about a week ago, but yeah, apparently that was one of the other "that's not how it's done" things that they did. So I asked them if they'd reimburse me for the smoke detectors I installed, and she said, "No, we won't do that." And I said, "Well, that's fine. I'll just take them with me when I move." Then, yeah, that's what I heard too. That mad cow disease was caused because farmers were feeding cows the ground up remains of previous cows, and yeah, there was cannibalism that led to mad cow disease. I heard that too. Yeah, and well, that's what I figured, VNA. In fact, I even said that to the landlord because she asked me, how are you doing on getting that lease signed? And I said, well, I'm sure I'm probably the only one in the complex that just doesn't go click, 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 click all the way down the line. I'm actually reading it, and I'm sure I probably am the only one that did that because, like I said, even the landlord wasn't aware that some of the things that were in there. Yeah, well, yeah, they're not reimbursing me for the detectors. Like I said, whatever. I kind of figured they were going to be cheap on that. And actually, I mean, I got them a decent price. I got four of them for $50, so it's 12 and a half bucks. So it isn't like they buy them in bulk and they're saving so much more money by not having to buy them one by one. They had two packs over at Home Depot for $50. So or for 25 bucks because I paid $50 total for them, and they got them installed for free. So yeah, well, no comment about the landlords. Like I said, I'll be out of here hopefully soon. This is only temporary, and then once it's I'm out of here, then anything I do, what that just adds to the value of the house. I'm reluctant to spend a whole bunch of money in this place because it doesn't do me any good. they'll spend a couple bucks to replace an outlet or something like that. But I'm not gonna waste money, helping build someone else's apartment and make their apartment more valuable. Yeah, you'd think that, especially when they have vans blowing up in the parking lot, you'd think that they'd want to have smoke detectors in here. You're right. Yeah. I've met a few people around here that have been really nice. I don't know if I necessarily call them friends at this point, but we're on good terms. We're on talking terms and stuff like that. And we had an incident a few weeks ago where a couple of kids got into a fight, and somebody called the police, and so we all stood out there and looky looed while the police were doing their thing, and I got a chance to meet all of them. So yeah, a lot of people here, they're really nice. Move to Colleen. Well, it's going to be an issue where I find a job. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Vicky asked if the bed creep is fixed, and then Jennifer said, "Yeah, I did a vlog on it." She's probably mentioning asking if the problem was actually solved, and yes, the problem has been solved. The bed doesn't creak anymore, so that got it. Yeah, you're right. The fights happen everywhere. These were young kids, though, so. And I mean, one of the kids was clearly wrong, and he was the one talking to the cop and was trying to make it seem like he was the victim in this. But apparently, the fight started because he started teasing another kid because their mom had passed away. And it's like, oh, come on, guys. And then he's talking to the cop and trying to paint himself as the victim. The cop didn't buy it though, because apparently he even admitted to the cop that he was teasing this little girl because her mom had died. And it's like, well, why would you do that? Yeah, no, you don't do that. That's not cool. Not even mean. It's no class, right? That's no class, is it? It's like me telling you you don't even know who your mom is, which is the truth, isn't it? I'm sort of your mom, aren't I? But whatever. There are a bunch of jobs available around here, and I'm kind of working on a few things right now. I've got like 6 or 8 things. Kind of 6 or 8 irons in the fire right now. Just gonna see what happens. Yeah, unfortunately, kids can be cruel, and they'll look for anything that they can latch on to. This kid was what 9 or 10 years old, and he's teasing another kid about losing their parent. It's like, I mean, that's almost almost got to blame that on bad parenting themselves. You almost got to wonder if you really can blame the parent or the kid for that. When they're that young, because that's probably more the parent. And like I said, the police, we all of us kind of went over and ganged up on the police officer, and kind of, you know, just wanted to see what was happening. And the officer completely understood, and that what had gone on, and that the other kid, the kid that was claiming to be the victim, was clearly the instigator, because he even admitted to the officer that that's what he had said. And basically, the officer just recommended that we all talk to the landlord about that. And if it happens again, call the cops again. Get enough police reports, and the landlord will have to kick the guy out, kick the family out. I can kick the kid out because, well, he's a kid, but Everybody got quiet all of a sudden. You know what that means? When everybody gets quiet, that's usually when I put this thing back up later on for playback. That means that this is where there'll be a commercial. Well, the kids getting in a fight, that's maybe an issue for the police, not the domestic issue of, you know, kids being kids. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you're right, Nancy. Unfortunately, that's true. Our whole society has gotten really coarse, and it's okay now that if you don't like somebody, apparently in society it's okay now that if you don't like somebody that you can attack them physically. I don't know how we got there. Yeah, you're right, Jennifer. That would be cool if you could put pictures in here. Basically, I could do it, I suppose, because I could just, bring the tablet up and put it on the screen. Does the cat get frisky? Well, if by frisky you mean like, humpy or whatever, no, not really, because he's been fixed. But he does play and get excitable, and he wrestles with it with his sister and all that. But he's kind of a big old boy now too. He's 12 and a half years old, so he's kind of an old man. Yeah, yeah. My father is out of the hospital. He went back for a couple of days about a week and a half ago. He had an incident where, in fact, he told the story last week when he was on the phone with us, where he was trying to get out of his lazy boy chair and kept scooching forward and got to the point where he slid off and fell onto the floor and had to call the paramedics to get himself back up again. And they ended up taking him into the hospital and you know just checking him out for a couple of days, and they took him to the wrong hospital too, because his doctor didn't have privileges at this hospital, and so it was other doctors that were trying to treat him, and they wouldn't talk to his family doctor, and the nurses and the doctors were trying to treat him for things that he didn't think he needed to be treated for, and ultimately he was there for a few days, but he went home again. So far as I know, he is home now and has been there for the last well, since we talked to him last weekend. Yeah, yeah, I suppose that is an issue with apartment complexes getting too many police calls. But you know what? If it has to happen, it has to happen. Maybe that just means that the apartment complex needs to hire some security. When do I leave for California? I'm leaving on Friday. Does my father have home health care? Have in-home health care? Yeah, basically his doctor is coming to the house. His physical therapist is coming to the house. A nurse is coming to the house. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a few days now about that. He was having actually problems with the home health care nurse that was coming, and she was just one of these really high-strung individuals who would overreact to things. She looked at his pulse rate at one point, and thought it was really high, and then panicked and started trying to call the paramedics and stuff like that. And my dad was saying, no, that's not the problem. That's not what you're here to deal with. You're here to take blood, to look at my ammonia levels, and that's it. Stick with that. And it turned out a little bit later they checked the pulse again, and it was back down to normal. He'd been up and walking around a little bit, and his pulse was up. So my dad was saying that this nurse, she's kind of walking on eggshells with him, and if he doesn't get to the point where if she doesn't get to the point where she's starting to be a little bit more relaxed and kind of doing her, just keeping what she does limited to her own expertise that he was going to have it replaced. And apparently he can do that. So yeah, that's what my dad's saying. He says she's walking on eggshells, and one more strike and he's going to replace her. So your great grandfather was in World War I and World War II. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, I think in terms of military service, I it's just my uncle on my father's side. He served in Vietnam. How's the weather? It's been a little warmer lately. It's still getting cold at night. It's getting into the upper and mid 30s at night, but it's been like in the 60s lately. It's a nice break from when it was in the 90s every day. So I was ready for this. Yeah, I agree with you, Joey. Yeah, that's true, Todd. But sometimes they can be a little overzealous too, and that was, I think, what was becoming the issue. Because even my father, was saying, it's okay. There's no need to panic. I guess the first rule when you do something like that, and you get like a high pulse rate or something, is you wait 10 minutes and check it again. Just to make sure it's not some aberration. And that's what it was. Your dad was in the Army Air Corps Photo Service during World War II, based in Colorado. All right, that's cool. Yeah, got a lot of great photos from World War II. That's great history. There's a lot of memories there. You don't have any memories of that, though, do you? Hi, Nancy in Mexico City. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, yeah, agreed. But well, we got to do. Like I said, my mom and dad both have to find the people they like, and there's people they like and people they aren't really into. I remember I probably told this once. When my father first went into the hospital the first time, he had a bad experience with a doctor that he came to start calling Doctor Liar because the doctor just kept, wouldn't tell him the truth. And as a matter of fact, when I went back to visit him the last time, and every day when we took him out to go for a walk, they wanted to check his blood pressure before they stood him up. And I kept saying, "Okay, think Doctor Liar, think Doctor Liar, think Doctor Liar," because that would hopefully make him mad and raise his blood pressure a little bit. It worked. Yeah, you're right, DNA. I'd like to be like him with no worries either. Only thing you got to worry about is, are you going to sleep downstairs or upstairs? But my parents have all gone through that too, because the first home care delivery person that my mom hired while my dad was in the hospital, she fired her. She didn't like her at all, but got another one and really likes her now. So that's a good thing. And so you just like I said, my parents have paid for a good system, and so they got to have people that they like and feel comfortable with. I think a lie is worse. I'd rather, because I think it's better not to know than to know something that's wrong. Have someone, blow smoke up your backside. But honestly, I think under most circumstances, doctors should tell you the truth. Well, I don't know if I'm going to go so far as to say doctors suck, but some of them do. Some of them do definitely. There's, any category of person you get into, you're going to find people that are good, people that aren't so good. Yeah. Hang on here. Don't want to leave that page. Somehow I hit a button that almost tried to exit the screen here. That wouldn't have been good. I mean, I guess I get a weigh about whether the patient can deal with a situation. Because I mean, if the patient is, having a bunch of, medical issues and the stress is a big issue, then finding out how bad it is can be worse. At which point, sometimes no news is good news. But, if the patient can deal with it, the doctor uh, needs to tell you the truth. Yeah, you're right, Laura. That's the other end of it is can the patient handle the truth? But my father has always been a person that just says, tell me what it is and I'll deal with it. I'll learn to deal with it. And he's kind of always been kind of a no nonsense kind of guy. Yeah, yeah, I agree. It is difficult to go through all that, but you gotta deal with it. Yeah, well, it's a matter of evaluating whether the patient can deal with the truth. But if you don't ever tell them the truth, then even when they can deal with it, then what happens? I think a lot of doctors don't like Medicare because Medicare tends to not pay what it should. I mean, all insurance companies want to avoid doing that, but yeah, I know. There should never be a reason where they lie to you. They either should tell you the truth, or say, or tell you nothing. But if you don't know what you're dealing with, and how can you deal with it? You have anything you want to add to the conversation? No, just want the kitty treats, right? That's all. That's all it was about with you. Just to make everyone know he's not a stuffed animal up here, but he's real. And that was my finger you grabbed on. Didn't know that, right? Yeah, you gotta tell your sister that she gets the kitty treats if she comes out here too. In fact, I usually give her 2 kitty treats for every one I give you. Just because I'm trying to buy her love, right? Yeah, that's my buddy waiting for the treats. I'm convinced that's the only reason he comes out here is because he knows he's gonna get fed. He's thinking with his stomach. Have I been to Roswell? Yeah, Jordan and I visited Roswell on the trip to Texas. We went to the Roswell Museum and saw a few of the sites as we drove through. You have to go check that one out. That would have been back in uh, about mid-May. I've heard that a lot of doctors won't even take new Medicare patients because it's not worth the trouble. Is that where this shirt came from? No, this shirt came from Baker, California. I got that one on another trip I went to with Jordan. We visited Baker, California on one of our trips, I think, to Las Vegas. But I do have a couple of Roswell T-shirts that I've gotten there. And I've worn those on vlogs or live streams in the past. Yeah, I had a lot of fun going to Roswell. That was sort of my request when we went through there. Although I didn't really have to twist Jordan's arms too much to get him to do that one. That was fun though, because I'd always wanted to go to that place. At least ever since I knew what Roswell was. Yeah, you're right. That would be a cool shirt if it glowed in the dark. I don't think it does though. It's not like the bear. Ugh. It's funny. I slept last night. Should be fine. I think I'm probably just trying to sleep off lunch today. Did another restaurant vlog today. You'll see it in a couple days. Right now, it only exists here and here. Yeah, you're right. We saw the biggest thermometer in the world in Baker. Is a solid color shirt? No, it's black. But sometimes the light coming in from the window kind of puts a blue tint on things. As it gets darker out there, this will turn black again. But it is just a black shirt. It isn't purple. It's not the first time somebody's commented on that. Yeah, the Cheddar's vlog, the food was really good. I was really impressed how good. That was a little bit higher end of a restaurant than I usually go to. Uh, but if I can ever convince my parents to come visit me, that might be the kind of place that they would enjoy. So Ruth Buzzy is in or around San Antonio. Okay, good to know. Well, that's no good to tell him you got 2 healthy lungs and he's only got a quarter of one lung. That's no good. Yeah, that's a bad lie. Going back to the model airport or model plane airport soon. Hopefully, it all depends on whether they're allowed to continue operating. There's some sort of a law that's getting passed. I think maybe going through Congress or something right now that might outlaw that because they're concerned about it being used as weapons. They want to put severe limits on how far away and a remote vehicle like that can be operated from the person who's controlling it. And if that law passes, it could theoretically ground that whole thing, which would be a shame because that was a really cool place. I had a lot of fun there. And those guys really seemed to enjoy what they were doing. Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed the Veterans Day parade. Yeah, I risked losing a few fingers and toes for you on that. That got so cold. Yeah, I haven't really gotten that far away from Waco yet. But yeah, I could conceivably go to Austin. Go to Austin. I don't know. I'd have to do some research and figure out what's down there. But yeah, it would be something I could maybe do at some point. I think the furthest I've been away, short of going back to California and stuff like that, is when I've been going down to Temple, and that's just 30 minutes down the road. Yeah, that's right. Daniel Johnson was down there. You're right. He got some of that stuff. Actually, there's also I'll have to watch the Devil and Daniel Johnson video again. Yeah, the only problem with restaurant vlogs is I'm good for about one a day. And actually, what I've been doing lately is about one a week. But you're right. I could probably do a few things down there. You're right. I could probably find a bunch of things that'd be interesting. Wear my Daniel Johnson T-shirt and go down and find his house and find his school and some of that stuff. No, I'm gonna leave Willie Nelson to you. You're the Willie Nelson guy. Rocky Erickson, yeah, that would be a good one too. Is he was he in Austin? Yeah, I've been to Olive Garden a bunch of times. Yeah, probably wouldn't do an Olive Garden one. I broke my rule by doing the Cheddars because that is a chain, but uh, Olive Garden is like a national chain. Everybody's heard of Olive Garden. Oh, did Jordan do a zoo vlog? Was that one of his Australia ones? I haven't seen the one today yet. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe an Austin trip would be fun. And when you're asking Jordan about the original music, are you talking Jordan's music or the stuff that he uses at the beginning of his vlogs? Because that's two different things. I'm hoping that today's vlog is going to get some good hits. I found another interesting history story of Waco. Uh, it just shows how weird of a town this is. I was proud of it too because I found a bunch of locations and found a bunch of stories about what had happened, and then I went to the cemetery and found the graves of all the main people involved in it. So yeah, I think today's video is a good one. Thanks, little boo. Appreciate that, and I'm sure Jordan does too. Yeah, you're right. If I lived in California, I could say I lived in a zoo. That's sort of why I reason I escaped the zoo. Yeah, everyone got to remember Dan Herman isn't actually Dan. It's Dan's girlfriend Laura. So when you see Dan Herman, it's actually Laura. But that's okay. Yeah, Jordan has a great voice. He has a great singing voice. I was a huge fan of, well, still am a huge fan of his music. In fact, I can honestly say I have more Jordan's CDs than anybody in the world because I got like 350 of them, 350 copies of the same CD. Yeah, Jordan's a really talented musician. It was a shame the Candyland riots didn't take off. It could have been big, I think. He wrote some really elaborate, really detailed songs. That was what I really liked about it is there was just so many layers to it. Yeah, I've thought about that, but there's also like insurance issues you have to deal with when you start going into people's houses, and I don't know, sometimes that becomes more of a trouble than it's worth. I mean, think of that poor guy that was doing the carpet cleaning service a few days ago, whose van caught on fire and nearly burned down the apartment complex. Yeah, one of these days I'm going to have to get some of those CDs out to Jordan so he can really get a little bit more serious about giving them away. And I know he's got a lot of vinyl that he gives away, but I don't know how many CDs he has. And since I got like two-thirds of all of them, I was the one that had storage space at the house. So I did look for the farmhouse. I wasn't able to figure out where the exact location was. I also tried to figure it out where Jesse Washington was buried, and apparently they just buried him in a pauper's grave, and I wasn't able to dig up exactly, pardon the expression there, exactly where that was. I mean, it's possible that if I spent a little bit more time, I could have found the farm, but I don't think there was anybody of that family there anymore. And the truth is, I thought I had a good video with what I had, and really wanted to focus mostly on Jesse and his story because that's as bad as as the murder was, the initial murder was, you know, Jesse didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. Yeah, it's funny. I don't have a turntable either. You know, in fact, I once the New York Times once did an article on my propeller collection, uh, and that actually turned out to be the first paragraph in the articles. They were talking about how fanatics could understand buying, paying $900 for an album, and and other fanatics could even understand, buying multiple copies of the same album. But then it starts off saying, but only someone like me could buy 9 copies of the same album and not even have a turntable to play them on. All right, so Laura is about to become Laura. That's good. There we go. There's Laura. Laura for real. Dan has left the building. Laura has replaced him. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had any reason to get a turntable. Like I said, I bought the Guided by Voices vinyl mainly because I was a collector, and at the time I was really a hardcore collector. I was a CD person primarily because I was making CDs at the time, so why not? And and I would just buy vinyl because I had good income at the time, and I loved the band so much that I just basically wanted to buy everything in every format, and just start the collection too. The because the propellers, even if I did have a turntable, I wouldn't play them, or if I did, I'd pull out my copy out of box and play that, or one of the repressings that I have because they repressed the album. Probably about 10 years ago now. Do I have any Elvis? No, I was never really an Elvis fan. When people ask me the question, Beatles or Elvis, I'm a Beatles fan. I know Jordan and I disagree immensely on that, but that's where I am. I much prefer the Beatles. I appreciate Elvis for what he was, but he just, yeah, he's not the Beatles. Does the cats make music? Do you make any music? Or do you just go around at night and go meow, meow, meow? Yeah. It's the latter, I guarantee you. There was a point, yeah, there was a point where they had a turntable that the stylus didn't actually rub through the groove. That actually was read with a laser, and I don't know. That was something that it seemed like a good idea, but I don't know. I don't know what the fidelity was. If it was, uh, if it worked, or if it sounded good, or if the audio wasn't as good, or whatever. Elvis was going to play in Portland 2 days after he died, and he still had the ticket. That's a cool collectible. Thank you, Mr. Yeah, Mr. Thesper. I'm glad you like the bite and nibble segment. Yeah, we'll probably do another one of those at some point. The problem people have if the yolks break in the egg is that you crack them too hard. And what I usually do is I crack them into a little glass cup that has a real thin lip. And so what you end up doing is you just make a tiny little crack in the egg. If you do it like in a mixing cup where the glass is that thick, you're going to end up breaking up the shells. And sometimes if you go too far, you end up penetrating the yolk. But with a little care and, like I said, a small piece of glass, a small thin piece of glass, you can usually do that. Some people I've even seen them crack it with like a butter knife. Oh, it's good that they found it though. That would have been bad if you lost all your stuff and they never found it. It's bad enough that they lose stuff, but they find it at least. That's okay. That's better than nothing, right? How did my cats get along with Jaw? Not very well at all. Because they've never had to deal with dogs, and so their first instinct is to run, and first Jaw's first instinct is to chase. So yeah, it was never going to work out too well. It towards the end though, they kind of got used to him being around a little bit, and there'd be a point where like Jaw would be sitting on the easy chair next to me, and then like Bite would get up on his hind legs and look over the arm of the easy chair, and they'd come face to face a few times. And what I'd try and do is I'd try and hold on to Jaw to keep him still, just so he didn't make a move and frighten Bite. But it never got to the point where they were going to be friends, and I don't think that ever would happen. Yeah, in terms of cracking eggs, though, I'm just showing off. Well, like I said, with when it comes to cracking eggs, just if you do it carefully on like a thin piece of glass on drinking glass, and if you just don't penetrate the egg too much, use a little restraint. You know, as long as you don't go enough far enough in that you penetrate the yolk, you're fine. Occasionally, I hit the yolk, but you know, 99% of the time, I'm usually pretty good at it. Can't find a kitty emoji. Oh well. How about if we call you kitty emoji? Huh? You gonna be the kitty emoji? Oh, that's fine. I don't mind people asking the same questions over and over again. That happens a lot here because not everybody's here the whole time. I didn't go and try and find the farmhouse where that all started. I looked initially, tried to find it, wasn't really able to dig it up initially. I might have been able if I dug a little deeper, but I really wanted to focus more on Jesse's end of the story than on that. Because that was really what the whole thing is about. You know, the woman who got murdered. That was sad and all that and unfortunate. But the truth is, her suffering was over in a minute or so. Because he, just you know, she was dead almost instantly. What Jesse had to go through went on for a long time. By the Waco thing, you talking the Waco horror? Hi Tim, how are you? Welcome to the group. Good to see new people popping in here. Everyone say hello to Tim. I'll take a drink while that's happening. Haven't had any trolls here that Jordan had to go after. All right, thanks for stopping in, Laura. I appreciate it. See you next time. There we go. There come all the greetings for Tim. Yeah, well, we'll once we get it all processed through the system, I always post my live streams and afterwards. It may be up in an hour. It'll probably be up in 24 hours because I don't know, for some reason YouTube still demonetizes all of them. So we got to go through the process of having them review it and make sure it's all cool and all that. But um, you know, whatever. So if it's up in an hour, it means it didn't get demonetized. If it's up tomorrow, then it did. Because what I usually do is if it gets demonetized, and usually they're demonetized right when I end them. So, whatever's going on is going on. So, once that happens, I move it to private. And then once it's, order a review, and once the review is complete, then we'll put it up and go live with it again. No, I haven't really thought about doing a PO box. I'm not really sure I need to have people sending me things. I appreciate the thought and all that, but sometimes it gets complicated if you do that. Because most of you it wouldn't be a problem, but you'll get some person that gets obsessed and they start sending you things all the time, and then if you make the mistake of acknowledging one of them and don't acknowledge something else, then they get upset with you for that, and it just it's sometimes unfortunately there's just people that ruin things like that, and it's better sometimes just to not start. I'm sorry for those of you who just like to, send me something nice in the mail every once in a while, but people ruin it. Yeah, you're right. I haven't seen Angela or Terry. Yeah, we aren't even through Thanksgiving yet, and they're already talking about Christmas. It was crazy. The 3 or 4 days before Halloween, Home Depot had Christmas stuff up already. Thanks, Tim. I'm glad you enjoy my channel. It's the feedback like that makes it um, you know makes it easier to do this every day, because it is a challenge sometimes, getting up every day and figuring out what I want to do a vlog about. And as I mentioned a couple of days ago, I did some stuff around the house, and all of a sudden I looked, it was like 6 or 7 o'clock at night. It's like, oh man, I didn't do a video today. That was why I had to give you the egg video yesterday, because I had to do 2 videos that day, and so I had to do a quick one, and the egg one turned out to be a convenient one because I needed to have some breakfast anyway, and I figured I hadn't shown that little trick, so we'll do it. And then I wanted to go out and spend time on the video you're going to see tonight, and I think that's a good video. I'm proud of that one, so I hope you all watch that. That'll be up in a little bit more than 4 hours. And the beauty on this one is it didn't get demonetized. Yeah, I might put some Christmas lights up this year, at the apartment, because you know usually, I didn't do Halloween this year, even though I usually do. I did it at home, because usually with Halloween it goes up the day of and it comes down the day after. With Christmas, I usually put it up, shortly after Thanksgiving, and then leave it up through New Year's. So, there's a little bit more to it. You can do a little bit more time with it and have fun with it. So, you know, and it's something I can do kind of gradually over time too. But there's a bunch of areas out there. There's trees in the yard that I could, hang lights in, and so I'll probably do something this year with lights. Have a little fun with that. Yeah, I'd be happy too if I just had to sit around and sleep all the time. Come down for the occasional kitty treat. Not have to deal with fleas, right? Give them their second treatment of flea treatment, this or well, last night actually. I decided to go with Advantage this time, over the stuff that I got from the vet before, because I don't think the stuff I got from the vet agreed with bites. And for about 4 days afterwards, he was throwing up all the time. So I didn't want to keep feeding him that stuff. The Advantage, I put that on last night. It hasn't been a problem yet. So maybe there's just something in the other stuff that didn't agree with him. Well, I put up a tree. No, I don't usually do trees. It's funny. I decorate like crazy outside, but don't do anything inside. And I think probably the reason I don't do anything inside is because the second I do, these two are going to climb it, and then they're going to be at the top, and then the tree's going to tip over, and everything's going to be broken. It's going to be a mess. So we'll play it by ear. Yeah, no, I don't have any electric outlets outside. That's actually there's one kind of in a public area over by the carport that I could probably tap into. Uh, but I might actually have to crack one of the windows a little bit and run them through the window. Oh yeah. What I was saying about the PO boxes is that unfortunately, you just most of you are people who wouldn't abuse it, but then you get some people that just like send stuff all the time, and if you mention one thing online and then don't mention other things online, then they start getting all offended by it, and it's oftentimes it's just easier just to avoid it altogether. There's a lot of times I just have to kind of keep not do all the things that most of you wouldn't abuse just because one person will ruin it. So that's sort of why I don't do that. I appreciate you wanting to send me money, and if you want to do that, internet is still a really good way to do that, because I have a PayPal account if you want to do something simple, just a one-time thing, and I have a Patreon. And you go to my homepage, and there's like a little link in the I think upper right-hand corner of the screen there. There's like a little image of the backyard of my house on my homepage, and in the like lower right-hand corner of that image, there's links to PayPal and Patreon. So that's the best way to do that. I appreciate you wanting to just send it through the mail, but like I said, it gets complicated. So that's sort of why I don't do that. And you just know that's what would happen, Joey, because this one, well, both of them, because both of them are explorers, and they'd both be at the top of the tree. I know it. It'd be 5 minutes, and they'd be at the top of the tree, and then it'd be 6 minutes, and then the tree would be laying on the ground. And so, and if I got a real tree, this one would be eating it, and then he'd be barfing pine needles all over the house. So yeah, I just don't do it. Because you get an 18-pound cat at the top of a Christmas tree, and it's just not going to stay upright very long. Right, Bite? Especially when his 15-pound sister's up there with him. Yeah, I will put Christmas lights up probably this year. Like I said, there's a tree out front that I could put them on. There's plenty of places around the apartment that I could hang them from that would look cool. Where it wouldn't be like a permanent attachment thing. It'd just be something I could do, for a temporary thing. I could put there's like a fence along my backyard here, my postage stamp of a backyard where I could hang lights, and yeah, there's all sorts of areas around here I could decorate. See, someone said hi to Angela. Oh, there she is. Hi, Angela. We were just talking about you a few minutes ago, how we hadn't seen you or Terry yet. So glad you were able to stop in. Las Vegas, home of the Tool Bear Den of Tools channel. Guess I haven't heard of that. Yeah, I suppose that's a problem when you have dogs in a Christmas tree. I'm thinking Uncle Eddie's dog from Christmas Vacation. What was the dog called? Snot or something like that. Oh, I love writing 30-page papers. Just kidding. Yeah, I'm not sure how many lights I had, but I'll tell you, I switched over to LEDs a number of years ago, and that's really the way to go. I actually like LEDs better than incandescents. And I had three times as many lights on the house and like a third the electric bill. When I had incandescents on the house, when the lights would go on, all the lights in the house would dim. I don't even see it now, and there's barely any difference in the electric bill during that. So that's the way to go. Plus, one of the things I really like about the LEDs over incandescents is I always found that with the incandescent strings, I had to replace them every year because you use them and you're trying to hang them up the next year, and half of them wouldn't light, or none of them would light, and you have to try and figure out which one of the bulbs is burned out. And it just wasn't worth it. It was easier just to go buy a new one. I've had the same LED lights for 4 or 5 years now, and they just work every year. And I really like the color too. They got more of a white color because the LEDs, it's a whiter light than incandescents, which are more yellow. Are you getting close to the end, Angela, or are you just at the beginning? Oh, the yellow jacket, you're talking about that power strip I bought for the TV? Yeah, I mean, it's working really well. It's an ugly color. If I had my choice, and I might do it at some point, I might paint it, because you don't need a bright yellow power strip. But the strip is great. It works great. I haven't had any problems with the TV, and now it's really easy to reset the fire stick when I need to. You just have to like pull the TV away from the wall, and that was just a colossal pain in the neck. Oh, that's cool. So the end's within sight. That's good to know. Okay, I asked about that a little. Somebody mentioned a little while ago about Jordan's zoo vlog, and I was wondering if that was one from Australia. I haven't seen the video he posted today yet, but I've been catching up on the Australia ones. Like I watched a couple of them yesterday, including the David Bowie one. That was a good one. Yeah, I've always kind of wanted to go to Australia. That'd be a fun place to visit. Other side of the world. Yeah, I gotta imagine hitting a kangaroo is like hitting a deer in a car. One of those bad things you don't want to do. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that either. I wasn't aware that Bowie had been in Australia. So I don't know. I wasn't really that into the Let's Dance little China girl era. I was more into the earlier stuff. But whatever. That's part of who he was. Texas is like the Australia of the USA. I guess so. Yeah, I believe so. Is our friend from Brisbane still here? Because she was saying a little while ago that they were having breakfast. So yeah, it's tomorrow because they're over there, they're on the other side of the date line. Well, it was funny with Bowie because the first I was really ever aware of him because I didn't really get into music until way late was the Let's Dance Little China Girl era, and so I didn't really discover the things like Ziggy Stardust and all that stuff until way later. Yeah, yeah, Dad's still doing good. He really enjoyed doing the live stream last week, and so yeah, that was fun for all of us. And a lot of you said that it was great hearing him. You all said you couldn't tell the difference between us. It's like, yeah, I've never had that problem. I've never picked up the phone and says, "Is that Breck or is that Dad?" I don't know. I guess to each his own. Yeah, no, I don't know. We're only about 73 right now. I'm seeing maybe people are just getting tired of hearing me talk now. Yeah, David Bowie did some really great stuff. He was a really talented musician, and I think really when I got into him is because the first CD factory I worked at, we released one of the first compilations because it was a long time before they put any of his stuff on CD, and so we were contracted to make the first CDs, and there was like a box set put out called Sound and Vision, and it had three CDs. It had like music from um, across his musical history, and then it had a unique type of disc called a CDV. It doesn't even exist anymore. It had like 20 minutes audio and 5 minutes of full motion, full video on it, and we were one of the only companies in the world at the time could make that. And it was, like I said, it was four songs that you could play on a regular CD player, and then it was um, Ashes to Ashes on the video. And I always loved that song. That was one of my. I think that was always my one of my favorite songs. That Space Oddity. That's a great song too. Can I recommend a good hot sauce? I love Tabasco. I'm also a fan of something called Tapatio, which is something out of Mexico. And actually, I just got it recently. I was over at the local Schlotsky's, and they have a good kind of a Louisiana hot sauce that is really good with their sandwiches. Those are really the ones I go after. But it's with me, it's like beer. I like trying different hot sauces just that I haven't tried before, just to see what they're like. And so, it's one of those things you just have to. Yeah, that's another one, Cholola or whatever. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but I've seen that stuff too. That looks good. That seems to be really popular too. In fact, they got a lot of great hot sauces here in Texas, so I'll probably have to try some of those too. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll do a series of hot sauce vlogs, and call it "Breathing Fire with Breck" or something. Come up with some goofy image of me with fire coming out of my mouth. Yeah, I like salsas too. I like a good pico de gallo sauce. Actually, that would be fun if anyone has a good recipe for a good pico de gallo sauce. Yeah, you could send that to me at the email address, and we could try that as a bites and nibbles with Breck thing. You got pizza coming? You better share it with the rest of us. I want pizza. Do I like Italian food or Thai? Yes. I think I prefer Italian food, but I like Thai. I like Thai food because I like really spicy stuff. And Thai goes there. Like I said, anything that makes me breathe fire is good. Especially like it when it makes me sweat and when it clears my sinuses. Yeah, I like Indian food too, but I haven't really had as much of that. I think it's just because there isn't a big opportunity for that. Yeah, but what I mean by pico de gallo is actually making your own. I've experimented with making my own, but it's never really turned out as good as I'd like it to be. So, I think it's just not maybe not picking the right recipe or something. Maybe got too white of a recipe or something like that. But if anyone has any good ideas on a good pico de gallo sauce, send it to me. Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you there, Joey. Mexican food, and it's probably just because I grew up in California and I've had a lot of good Mexican food. And but yeah, I love Mexican food. The spicier, the better. And honestly, the stuff off the catering trucks, those are usually that's the best stuff. Yeah, I agree, Angela. That you got to put lemon or lime. I think I prefer lemon over lime in a pico de gallo. But yeah, that's the recipe I saw. But like I said, it just didn't work out that well. So, like I said, if anyone has any good suggestions on that, I'd like to know. Yeah, street tacos, yummy. You like street tacos? I don't even know what I'm talking about, do you? Yeah, yeah. I give them for $1.50 a piece, and they are good. They used to have a couple of food trucks in the backstage area at Disney that you'd get food from when the cast commissaries were down, and they had the best street tacos. Yeah, I haven't seen Terry in a while either. I looked at her channel right before I came in here, and she just posted a vlog yesterday, but I don't know. She hasn't popped in here. I wonder if I made her mad or something. She unsubscribed. Yeah, I like fresh tamales for Christmas. There was a girl at work whose grandmother used to make her tamales for Christmas lunch, at work every year, and she made the best tamales. In fact, she used to joke that when she always knew when her grandmother was mad because they were really spicy. And I kept telling her every year, okay, when your grandmother makes the tamales this year, make sure you make her mad for us. Never thought of cream cheese in tamales, but does the cat make me laugh? Yeah, he's clumsy sometimes, and so something will freak him out, and he'll like get into like freak out mode, and he'll like try and start running, and he has no traction, especially on the linoleum floor here, and so it's funny watching him, or he'll charge at something full speed and forget to put on the brakes, and then slam on the brakes the last second and run into something. Yeah, they're an endless source of amusement, aren't they? Run into the wall so many times, you probably got brain damage, don't you? But the purr still works. Yeah, I have no idea how to make tamales. I've always had to buy them. Send me the recipe, Laura. I would love to make tamales for a bites and nibbles section, a segment. Do I bring food to the party? You talking the parties at work or the Christmas party, the white elephant party? Need a little bit more information before I can answer that one. The white elephant party, then. Usually we don't do a whole lot. I'll usually bring some beer to share, and we usually do that. But we'll usually just order a pizza or something like that. We all chip in, throw in like $10, and order some pizzas and just munch on pizza all night. Yeah, I mean, in terms of making tamales, I might have to experiment with it a little bit first, just to make sure I know how to do it. But because I have no idea about any of that, I've seen it done, but or I've eaten them, but I've never seen anybody do them, or even have the vaguest idea how to do it. But if I could find somebody that could give me a good recipe on making tamales, that would definitely go to the top of the list. Especially if they're spicy tamales. I like hot tamales. Like I said, breathing fire. I mean, I suppose if I wanted to, I could probably look online on how to do it. There's got to be something there to do it. Maybe even some YouTube videos on how to do it. But gotta admit, it's never come up. And I think and if they are a lot of work, it's probably the reason why when people make them, they make a lot at a time. Because if you're going to go through it, just make a whole bunch of it, and then you can freeze them. That's the nice thing about tamales. You can put them in the freezer. Yeah, yeah. Authentic tamales are the wrapped in corn husks. In fact, I've seen at the local grocery store that you can buy the corn husks there. So there's obviously a huge market here for them, which doesn't surprise me. There's a huge Hispanic market here. If Jeff Kidd does make good tamales, he's doing them on the grill. I don't know. That might be good. Who knows? Yeah, I've never heard of the tamale house, but it sounds like that'd be a good place to get tamales. So, I mean, you're not going to get tamales, good tamales at a pizza place. Yeah, you're probably right. I bet you. I mean, I know I've been able to get them like at Costco in the past, but I don't know how authentic those are. You might find some. Might even find them, in the local HEB. Yeah, you're probably right. Find where the Hispanic population eats, and you'll find tamales. I found a lot of places in Waco, especially like barbecue places that are like that. They open up, they serve the food. When the food's gone, that's it. The store's closed. They make what they're gonna make, and then when it's gone, that's it until the next day. Yeah, that's what I kind of want to find too, is something authentic. I don't want to have a gringoized version of tamales. It's kind of funny too. I'm just thinking, thinking off the top of my head, that one of the reasons YouTube says that they keep demonetizing my live streams is because I don't put in the description ahead of time what it is we're going to talk about. And this is a perfect example. Here we're having a great discussion about tamales. If you told me, 1 hour and 49 minutes and 29 seconds ago that we were going to be talking about tamales today, I would have said, all right, but it just doesn't happen. It's hard to predict. This is an open thing here. I come on here and I talk about what you guys want to talk about, and this is the reason why I keep getting all my live streams demonetized, at least initially. Yeah, there's a lot of different ethnic groups here too. And so there's a lot of great ethnic food around here. Well, I mean, you look at what I do call them DNA. I mean, I do it. I call it the date and the live stream. So it's not like there's anything racy in the title, unless November 16th, 2019 live stream is triggering YouTube somehow. In terms of the job search, I actually had a job interview yesterday, so we'll see what happened. There was, I remember I told you a week or 10 days ago, I think, that there was one company that I spent a whole day on. Where I filed a bunch of applications with the same company. I didn't hear anything with them, but a few days ago, I filed three more applications with another company, and within 24 hours, I got an email telling me that one of the positions was already closed, and thanking me for applying anyway, and another one that said, "Hey, we'd like you to interview." So I had an interview yesterday on that. Felt went really well. I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to, don't want to jinx it or anything. But that would be a good job. It would be one that I would enjoy, and hopefully because the fact that between when I filed the application and when I got the call back, it was less than 24 hours. And in that 24 hours, they'd already filled one of the positions. Maybe that means they're going quick and maybe something, will happen quickly. I hope. Fingers crossed. Anyone here drink coffee? I'm sure probably more people here drink coffee than don't. I'm probably in the minority here because I don't drink coffee. Never developed a taste for it, and I don't even do caffeine. It's very rarely now when I have a caffeinated drink. It just doesn't work for me. Caffeine makes me sleepy. Yeah, I never developed a taste for coffee. A lot of people love it. A lot of people can't function without it, but I ain't one of them. Hi, Jackie and Bud. Thanks for stopping in. Got here right at the end. I can understand that about chocolate too. I'm not really into like milk chocolate, but I like dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is great. I'm weird with stuff. I like things that have really extreme flavors. And so, I like jalapenos and I like, wasabi and I like, you know, uh, you name it, things with really extreme flavors, like a sharp cheddar cheese rather than a regular cheddar cheese. I like dark chocolate rather than milk chocolate. Like horseradish. I like, sauerkraut, things that a lot of people look at and say, yeah, I'm just not into. I've had two cups of coffee in my entire life, made it this far in life, and just, and I'm sure the problem with me is just I've never had good coffee. It's always been something freeze dried out of a can. And I would bet you, I mean, I love the smell of coffee, and I bet you if I had like coffee candy and coffee ice cream and stuff like that, but I would bet you if I had good coffee, I'd probably like it. But since I don't get the benefit from the caffeine, and caffeine isn't particularly healthy for you anyway, I just decided it's better to stay away from it. Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll put that to the Thanksgiving fund here. I'm not really a teetotaler either, but I will drink tea if somebody hands it to me. Just not really a huge fan of it. If I'm going to have like a hot drink, it's going to be like hot chocolate or something like that. Hello, Jeff. We were just talking about you a little while ago. We were talking about whether if you were to make hot tamales, if you put them on the grill. Yeah, yeah. I kind of figured out that there was a very close relationship between wasabi and horseradish. In fact, one time when I was in California last time with my parents, we ordered something from Panera Bread, and I didn't see exactly what it was, but it had a really unique flavor to it. And I was trying to pin down what it was, and I kept thinking it was wasabi. And it turned out it was horseradish. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. Those are kind of the same. That's cool. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to stop by, Jeff. Yeah, I'm not really much of a sugar eater either. Either, you know, not a whole bunch. I will sometimes. I used to be more as a kid. I would. My parents always accused me of having a hollow leg, and we'd go out to dinner, and they'd be surprised how much I'd put in, and then I'd have a big dessert on top of that. Now I never do dessert. Peanut butter sandwich with hot sauce. That's two things I've never thought of together. Yeah, I don't drink a lot of tea, but it isn't something that I won't drink. It's just, I'm not a teetotaler. I don't go through the trouble of doing it. I don't buy it, but if somebody hands me one, you know what? I'll drink it. Tea's all right. Yeah, green tea with mint. I like mint flavors, so wouldn't surprise me that wasabi is just a lot of horseradish with green food color. That doesn't surprise me at all. I got like a tube of wasabi because when I work, it's strange. They prepare fresh sushi at the HEB. That's not something I would have expected to find here, but they never give you enough wasabi. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad you're doing it. That's nice that you're doing something like that, Jeff. He's packing a bunch of shoe boxes with gifts for kids all over the world. That's a good thing to do. Yeah, I guess I've heard that tea is a southern thing. That doesn't surprise me. No, I don't think I've ever seen videos by AVE or Vivian Tries. It's good somebody is getting to stay monetized. Oh yeah, roast beef with horseradish. I'm not really into sardines though, but I'll agree with you on the roast beef and horseradish. Those two things are good together. I love that. All right, Jeff, I'm glad you popped in here. Yeah, like I said, you were just here at the end anyway, so we're only going to be going for a few more minutes. Trying to do some of these a little bit earlier in the day too, so some of our friends in across the pond can get a chance. Otherwise, what ends up happening is it's like midnight or 1 in the morning for them. And we also got some friends from Australia this time who are waking up and having their breakfast with us, so that was good too. Very cool, Jeff. Thanks for stopping in. Check out my video tonight. I think it's a good one. I hope you like it. Another interesting piece of Texas history. Yeah, it's weird talking to people all over the world like that, but yeah, it's actually tomorrow in Australia. Got to get them to tell us what's going to happen because they're in the future. What's it like tomorrow? Do people still laugh? Yeah, I've never tried dandelion leaf in anything. I've heard a lot of people say it's good. All right, thanks, Laura, for stopping in. It was great talking to you. You were very active in this one today, so that was nice. Greater Bilby says, "I wish it worked that way." Yeah, me too. Yeah, I've heard of people making dandelion wine. Never had that. I'm not much of a wine drinker either, so and I don't know, maybe it isn't even the same thing, but thanks, DNA. I'm glad you never miss my vlogs. That means a lot to me. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Sometimes I like just doing funny things on my videos, just if more than anything else, because it makes me laugh. That video I started out with, where everything was upside down a couple days ago. Yeah, I just kind of dreamt that up the morning of, and it's like that just made me laugh, and I still like watching that just because it's funny. And a bunch of people kept saying, "Yeah, I kept watching it. I kept flipping my phone over, and it wouldn't work." I always like playing practical jokes on you guys. Sometimes the best part is it just amuses me. So, what kind of hot sauce and peanut butter do you mix together? I mean, because there's different kinds of hot sauces that I have. For Mexican food, I like Tapatio. For eggs, I like Tabasco. For different. So, what kind of hot sauce do you use? And is it like salty peanut butter or crunchy peanut butter? I'm curious. I'm curious. Yeah, I might try it just to see what it's like. It doesn't sound like things that I might put together, but yeah, like I said, most often when I play a prank on you like that, it's because it makes me laugh, you know, and that's a big part of this is amusing myself. And it's funny because that whole idea that just, it was one of those cases where I think it was the morning where I had one of those strange dreams and it woke me up. And now you know what I do when I get woke up. I lay in bed and come up with weird ways to torment my viewers. Yeah, well, so far my weekend has consisted of making videos. I did a restaurant vlog this morning. That's sort of the reason I wanted to kind of get going with this, is so I can cut together my restaurant vlog and then kind of have the rest of the evening off. Okay, yeah, I'll check into that. Because I mean, maybe it'll just be. I'm just trying to figure out what good hot sauce what hot sauce would go well with peanut butter, because I never thought about that combination. Yeah, see, I could understand peanut butter and honey. I see that all the time. That doesn't surprise me at all. I've never thought of peanut butter and hot sauce. Whatever, it might be good. There's a lot of things that are made better with hot sauce. And when I put hot sauce on pork chops, hot sauce on fish, hot sauce on chicken. Yeah, yeah. A lot of people said that they thought there was something wrong with YouTube, or at least something wrong with a video I made. Because they kept saying or that they were wrong with their phone because they kept trying to flip the phone over and then the image flips upside down again. Yeah, hot sauce on pizza. It's very common for me to put like jalapenos and crushed red peppers on pizza. I love that. That's great. Like I have a little bit of that hot wing sauce that I used with the cheese dip thing I made a few weeks ago on Bites and Nibbles, and I just had a chicken breast, and I basically just cooked that and sliced it up and was dipping it in the hot sauce. That was awesome. Yeah, I bet you peanut butter wouldn't be bad in ice cream either. Certain ones, probably chocolate ice cream would be good. Probably tastes like a Reese's peanut butter cup. Yeah, hot sauce is probably good on popcorn too. You're right. I've heard of people like putting Tabasco on popcorn. Well, like I said, I've been trying the hot wing sauce on the chicken, and that was really good. I'll do that again. Yeah, my mom used to do celery and peanut butter, never with raisins, but yeah, I've had a lot of spicy Asian food that has like peanuts and stuff mixed in. That's good too. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that they like hot sauce, but it doesn't like them. Yeah, I've never made poached eggs. That might be something interesting to try. I think what you do is you break the egg into like boiling water, right? And it cooks that way. Yeah, I hope there's never a day where I can't eat hot sauce because life won't be worth living at that point. But that's just me. Yeah, that's what I thought about poached eggs. A dash of apple cider vinegar in the water. Interesting. Okay, well, I'm going to probably end it anyway, Angela. So I'm glad you were able to stop in. Go back and do your homework, and good luck on that. And like I said, my new video will be up in about 3.5 hours. I think it turned out really well. It's another interesting piece of Waco history that I discovered when I was doing the Waco horror story. And it's an odd story that happened almost in the same exact place. It blew me away how many weird historical things have happened to Waco in that one little like 2 or 3 block region. And this is another one of those good stories. So I hope you tune in. I hope you enjoy it. And other than that, I think I'm done tonight. So thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time. Good night, everyone.